Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Ivory Tower Boiler Room. This is Dr. Andrew Rimby, and I'm joined with, well, I'm going to call him Dr. Manuel Betancourt, because I know he has his PhD from Rutgers, and I told him I'm from New Jersey. So I have to shout out a New Jersey institution when I see it. But, now I'll just say Manuel, since I feel that I'm close friends with him already. But to let you all know who I'm talking to and all of the accolades behind him. Manuel is a queer Colombian culture writer and film critic. His work has appeared in the New York Times, BuzzFeed News, the Los Angeles Times, Film Quarterly, the Los Angeles Review of Books, GQ Style, and elsewhere, because there's more. Betancourt is also Manuel, is the author of Judy Garland's Judy at Carnegie Hall, which might have a surprise question about that for him, and a contributing writer to the Eisner Award nominated graphic novel series, The Cardboard Kingdom. And I think are you still doing Larry Mantle's show called Film Week? Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a really cool radio podcast type show online called Film Week that Manuel gives his film critiques and reviews, and we'll dig into what you see on the horizon right now for
hmm
us to, lock into. But yeah, Manuel, without further ado, thank you so much for joining the Ivory Tower Boiler Room.
No, thank you. Thank you so much. And yeah, it's funny because I don't think I've ever introduced myself as Dr. Manuel Betancourt, even though I should, and I do have a PhD, but I sometimes, for the longest time, my bio used to read, Manuel has a PhD, but doesn't like to talk about it. Um, which then my advisor called me out on like years later. And she was like, I keep reading this in your bio. And she was like, why do you keep hiding from your academic path? So I eventually nixed that part of the bio and put it very like the last line, I think in my bio in my website now says like he holds a PhD in English literatures from Rutgers University because I should be proud of that. And I spent enough time earning that degree to hide from it anymore.
Well, and what was your dissertation on at Rutgers?
So the dissertation, oh my God, can I remember the full title? No. It's something like being in the picture. The central thesis of the dissertation was looking at the way movie fandom had influenced queer literary form in the early 20th century. So basically looking at the first generation of queer writers who grew up with the movies. My chapters were on Tennessee Williams, Gore Vidal, John Rechy, and Manuel Puig. And then the intro sort of did a roundabout and ended with Pedro Almodovar. So for those who've read The Male Gaze, there's a lot of I've disemboweled bits and pieces of the dissertation in writing this, but
Well,
that
that's
was
what
sort
I
of
was
my yeah.
curious about is how did it end up into the male gaze? But well, and for everyone out there, um, Manuel, say his last name again.
Oh, Puig, yeah.
Puig. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
I was
was
to say,
like,
not you.
I was like, not me,
Not you. No, no, no. We know who
the
you
other
are.
Manuel.
But yeah, Puig. He
Yeah.
wrote The Kiss of the Spider Woman, which then I
Yes,
know now as the iconic Cheetah Rivera Broadway musical.
as one
Um,
should.
yes, and Vanessa Williams. She did the revival.
Yes,
Or yeah, oh no, did the tour, not the revival. I think there should be a revival, but that's
I think
my
we're
own.
overdue. Yeah.
I think we're due for it. Yeah. So that's so interesting. And Pedro Almodovar, he had done which films are some that we would all know that he directed?
So he's probably best known right now, or not right now, forever, for his Oscar-winning films All About My Mother, which he won the Best Foreign Language Film back in '99, and then Talk to Her, which won him Best Original Screenplay in 2002, I want to say. But his big mainstream breakout success was in 1988 with Women on the Verge of a Nervous Breakdown.
Oh
And then
yes.
he's been doing a lot of these films with Penelope Cruz lately. So if you've watched stuff like Voltaire, or most recently he did Pain and Glory with Antonio Banderas, and Parallel Mothers with Penelope. So he's been working for a long time, and he's my favorite filmmaker of all time.
But it's so interesting how queer film fandom, that was your dissertation, and assuming it was about narratives, like there might have been, was there more of that academic, technical look compared to now what we have in front of us with the male gazed is more of the memoir meets the academics the memoir meets the analyst, I'll say it that
Yeah,
way.
yeah, and absolutely. Like the dissertation was very much. I'm a big close reader. I love form. I love writing about a form. I love thinking about a form. So it was very interested in sort of the kinds of Vidal's writing and his prose and Williams's stage directions, and it was very much it was very academic, very queer theory informed. But in grad school with my friends, we always used to joke that any dissertation was a biography, it was an autobiography. Whether it was in terms of like it says a lot about you, what you choose to spend, 8, 9, however many years on the dissertation. And for me, it was very obvious. Like I was writing a book, I was writing a dissertation about the way cinema shapes us and shapes our thinking. And
Mhm.
so the pivot to actually, I never intended to pivot to write a memoir. The way that I initially pitched The Male Gazed was kind of like a cultural criticism book of essays. Um, and it was only through the work that I did with my agent and the work that we then did with my editor at Catapult that they were like, I think the thing that ties this together, and I think the way that this project is going to be stronger and is going to be more of find more of a readership is if you're taking us through this journey, so that the memoir bits were sort of, we slowly grew them. So I keep referring myself as a begrudging memoirist, because I never intended to write. I still bristle when I think of this as a memoir because I don't think that's like the the spine or the structure of even like the or even the armature of the project. To me, it's about thinking about masculinity in pop culture, and the sort of anecdotal asides and the biographical moments are sort of windows that sort of allow us to sort of zoom in and then go out into these like larger pieces. Um, yeah.
Well, and just for everyone out there, uh, Manuel is really digging into his current book, The Male Gazed, on Hunks, Heartthrobs, and what pop culture taught me about parentheses, desiring, and parentheses, men. So desiring is even in parentheses, which I think actually shows me a lot about your personality. And, tell me if I'm digging in too much psychoanalytically, but you seem like a very introspective, almost shy, like in terms of social media, because like everyone who sees me, I'm a very exuberant, outward person, even when it comes to my speedos or just how I consume culture and how I consume male homoerotics, even in my dissertation, that it's very phallic centered and body centered, sex centered, like on the verge of porn studies, where it seems like you're almost on the edge of that. Like you're kind of voyeuristically, like you're looking at the scene, but you're not necessarily wanting to throw yourself into the center of the party. Hi, this is Dr. Andrew Rimby, the host and director of the Ivory Tower Boiler Room. I hope you're enjoying what you're watching on the Ivory Tower Boiler Room. So to watch the rest of the episode, head to our Patreon. It is patreon.com/Ivory Tower Boiler Room. That's Ivory Tower Boiler Room. And you can watch the rest of the episode on our $5 a month membership called ITBR Student, or join the ITBR Professor membership. It's only $10 a month. You get access to all of our videos. You get access to both of our book clubs, the Ivory Tower Boiler Room and the True Crime and Academia book club. Plus, you unlock all of our other episodes. So at the ITBR Student, you only get access to our weekly interviews and the True Crime and Academia episodes. For $10 a month, you get access to our ITBR rewatches, our Teaches series, and True Crime and Academia rewatches and Teaches series, plus the book clubs. Okay, can't wait to see you all on Patreon. And just a reminder, I also offer consultation services. It is $30 for your initial consultation. You get a 1 hour private Zoom with me, and I will help you whether you want to create your own podcast and or media brand, you want to navigate academia as an undergrad or grad student, you need help with technology as it relates to teaching or media. Do you want to expand your social media presence as an artist, writer, podcaster, or academic, or even crafting your public humanities identity? I will help you with my consultation services. You can also find that on Patreon as well. Okay. Thank you all for watching and for supporting the Ivory Tower Boiler Room. Bye.